What is up, crypto peeps? Hope y'all are having a good Saturday. On today's edition of Crypto Coffee Break, we'll be looking at the charts of Ripple, Ethereum, and Cardano. We'll be going over some crypto news, including the most important news of 2018 so far. And we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so subscribe here if you're liking the content. And remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm actually sitting across from somebody who I'm giving advice to today. So this is the person who I'm giving financial advice to today. So this is not financial advice, it's just my opinion that I'm sharing with Bobo. Let's get right into it. What is up, crypto peeps? Let's start with taking a look at the market cap. If you saw my video from yesterday, you'll see that I predicted this market cap will keep going up back to and retrace back to the levels that it was, over 800 billion. And the reason that was because of the Asian news obviously being BS with regards to South Korea. So South Korea says that they're not banning crypto anymore, as well as the reopening of Binance and a few other exchanges. So traders were dying to trade and couldn't trade. So you had hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people who wanted to trade but weren't able to because they weren't able to register. So that clearly had a suffocating effect on the market cap. Ethereum continues to show strength, even during the whole South Korea FUD, when people thought that that was a real thing, that South Korea was actually going to ban crypto. Ethereum showed no signs of backing down, really. And yesterday, if you saw my video from yesterday, I hold a lot of Litecoin, and I actually liquidated some of that Litecoin and dumped it into Ethereum. I feel like Ethereum, you know, yeah, if you look at the charts for Ethereum, and we'll go over it in a second in more detail, but if you look at the charts for Ethereum, this is currently the all-time high. So if you're asking why would you invest in something at an all-time high, well, wouldn't you jump at the opportunity to invest in Bitcoin when Bitcoin was 1,400 and that was the all-time high? So, you know, there's more to trading than just charts. Sometimes there are emotions that go into it. Sometimes there are hunches that go into it. Sometimes you're trading the news. Sometimes you're trading the potential. Basically, a price point where the security or the coin has never been. And that is my outlook on Ethereum. Obviously, I have the liquidity to do that, and if you don't mortgage your house to dump it into Ethereum. That is just a long-term hold, a long-term play for me. It's not a day trade. If Ethereum drops down to 1,200 tomorrow or the next week, I'm not going to cry about it. I am going to hold Ethereum until the end of the year. I believe Ethereum will be close to the double-digit thousands, the same way that Bitcoin was. Ethereum is one of those fundamental blue chip coins, and it's super impressive how many ICOs and how many coins are actually built on the Ethereum network. All right, let's get into some analysis. So let's start with Ripple. Ripple is the sexy choice for some reason. If you put Ripple in your YouTube video title, you're going to get 1 billion views. And I'm not sure why people are so fixated on it. I mean, I own a bunch of Ripple. I have high hopes for it, but it seems like people are just crazed for this. Now, let's start with the one-day charts. And the reason I want to do this is because I feel like there is a certain trend, and I don't mean price trend, but a certain trend with regards to trading nowadays, because crypto attracts a lot of millennials and a lot of, I would say non-experienced traders. People are looking for instant gratification. And with that comes a sort of day trading hysteria where people are looking to make gains as soon as possible. They are not really equipped with the faculties to hold a certain security or a certain coin. You know, they invest in something. If the next day it goes down or doesn't hit a price point that they desire or doesn't jump up 500%, like when their friend invested in Tron or when their friend invested in Stratum, then they go nuts and they want to sell and they sell at a loss. I mean, it's a really disturbing trend. I'm glad that crypto is, I guess, attracting a lot of new investors. I'm glad that crypto is growing in popularity, but it's also attracting people who are not experienced, that are looking for instant gratification, that don't really have the gumption to hold to a security when that is probably the best position at that time. So I want to look at the one-day chart because in crypto, at least that's a longer term outlook, which is funny. Coming from the stock trading world, one day is not really long term. So let's look at Ripple right now. So let's draw Ripple's uptrend line. So this is where the trend started. And this is where we are at currently. And what I'm going to use right now is a tool called the fib retracement. Now, if you don't know what the fib retracement is, basically it's a set of predetermined ratios, Fibonacci ratios, and it allows you to determine exit and entry points. So basically support and resistance levels at different points based on a retracement. So right now, Ripple is going through a price retracement. Now, what's the difference between a retracement and a pullback? A retracement is basically a temporary reversal, but the important thing to remember is it isn't changing the current trend, right? So it doesn't signify a change in trend. Whereas a pullback signifies a change in trend. So you could have a bull trend that turns into a bearish trend. Right now, what we're seeing is what we think is a retracement, and based on what happens after this, basically the next candle, and you'll see here why I'm saying that in a second, then we'll know whether it's a change in trend or just a temporary pullback. So here's the fib retracement. We basically start. Oh, actually, it's not it's not the direction I want to go. This is the direction I want to go. Right, and we can see a clear descending channel here. So if we draw from the top of the retracement, oh shit, why is it doing that? All right, trend line. So if we draw from the top of the retracement, you can see there is a clear descending channel here. Now, this is what I was saying. So what happens in the next candle, and again, this is a daily chart. So what happens in the next candle is extremely important. We see this red line right here is the 20-day moving average. So there is strong support at around the 20-day moving average, and this trend line supports that as well. So you have the upward trend line and the 20-day moving average overlapping. So this is where the extreme strong support is, somewhere between the 50, the 0.5 and the 0.382 Fibonacci levels, right? So if we just want to draw that out visually, we could say that our strong support is probably around here. So if the next candle breaks above this resistance channel, then we can expect to see a movement towards this 0.236 Fibonacci retracement level. And that's why these Fibonacci retracement levels are so neat, is because it gives you, I wouldn't say it's an exact point of entry or an exact target, but it gives you at least it gives you a target to shoot for. So if the next candle breaks this resistance line and goes above it, if we trade above this, then you can see upward movement towards this 0.236 level. I don't quite think that we're getting towards, I mean, this is an all-time high, right? That's why this is where the top of the fib retracement lies. But you could see a move towards this level and a continuation of basically this trend right here, right? See? And you could see where this trend ends is where this 0.236 level is. Now, if it breaks below this, look to see if there is strong support a little bit above this 0.5 retracement where we drew the support line. So it's basically where the 20-day moving average and this upward trend line intersect. If it breaks below that, then all bets are off. If it breaks below that, then we're going to be definitely going to be in a bearish trend, right? The trend is going to change. It's no longer a retracement. It's actually a bearish trend downward. And around the 0.618 is where we traditionally see people either throw in the towel and there's major sell-offs, and that would be supported by the volume also. So don't forget to take a look at the volume. But that, you'll see major sell-offs, people panicking, screaming, or around the 0.618 level, you'll see that the crowd realizes that this is actually a great point of entry. And this is where we should, open up positions into Ripple again, and then we'll study the trend from there and see if there's a reversal in the bear trend. So that's Ripple. So in terms of my recommendation, again, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm actually recommending it to that guy over there. But in terms of what I would do, let's just say my opinion. I would actually wait to see what the next candle does. The bulls will want to trade this breakout here. So if it does break out past this, so past what is this price level? So what, 14,675 Satoshi. So if it breaks past this, you'll see the bulls wanting to get in here and shoot for this retracement and possibly even higher. If it breaks below this, I would actually hold. I wouldn't make a move, and I would wait to see if we can get to this retracement level and before we make an entry into the market. All right, so that's Ripple. All right, so here's the Ethereum chart, and you could see the fib retracement levels that I drew yesterday, starting with the most recent uptrend, continuing to now actually. Well, it stopped at because I drew it yesterday, it stopped at the highest point that it was yesterday, and you could see that it broke out above that. And we'll go over that in a second. But the reason I'm so bullish on Ethereum, not only because of what I see in the chart, and their technology is well known by now. We don't need to go over it in great detail. They're considered the gold standard when it comes to smart contracts. Here's the list of everyone using the ERC20 token. Look at all the familiar names on here and the market caps of these coins, right? You have EOS, Tron, Icon, Binance Coin, Status, Augur, Dragon Chain. And if you actually combined all of these market caps, it would be greater than Bitcoin. All right, so let's go back to the chart. So you'll see here are the fib retracement levels that we drew yesterday. This is the beginning of the uptrend, and this was the peak at where it was yesterday. Now, yesterday looked like there was a temporary retracement here. You had this big red candlestick that we haven't seen since, back in December. Why isn't the volume on here? Volume is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at volume. So yeah, so you did have a significant amount of volume in the sell-off, almost as much to match the previous green, the two previous green candles. However, it wasn't anything alarming. It didn't look like an institutional sell-off or a large amount of sellers. And Ethereum, as we said before, remained pretty strong during the whole Korea news fiasco. So what you were looking to see was where Ethereum would break out of here. So it looked like there was a perfect rectangle channel forming, and we wanted to see what happened. Now, what I expected to see was it bounce around in between here for quite a bit of time, and then based on the movement that it took, or based on the movement that it was going to take, either beyond this channel or below this channel, then we can make a prediction as to where the price was going. However, it just completely, blasted through this resistance level, and it's trading at an all-time high today, hitting, based on this chart, hitting $1,417.96. So bulls have probably traded at this breakout point. I know I invested yesterday at around the top of this candle, and again, for me, it's a long-term hold. I wasn't looking really to see what would happen in the next couple weeks or the next month. I'm holding it until the end of 2018 at least, unless there is a significant interruption in the entire market. But I'm extremely bullish on Ethereum. And as you can see, it's trading well above the 20 and 50-day moving averages. So let's take a look at Cardano's chart real quick. And we're going to be using the same technical analysis tools that we used before to measure this retracement. And it seems like all the coins that we looked at thus far have a similar pattern where there's a discernible uptrend and then some sort of retracement. And what we're trying to do is study the retracement and see whether it is a temporary retracement or an actual full-on pullback. So here is the top of the price point. This is the height of Cardano, and this was the beginning of the uptrend. Let's pick our trend lines and see if we can spot a pattern or a trend. So there's our first trend line, and it looks like this is forming a wedge of some sort. So basically with a wedge, what you want to make sure is that the price reactions at the support level, that you have at least two touching this trend line, and we do, and same at the resistance level, two, preferably three. In this case, we only have two. And the way that you determine whether this is a bullish wedge or a bearish wedge is usually in conjunction with the volume, and I don't know why we don't have the volume here. Now, in a bullish trend, the volume is not so much an important indicator in this circumstance, but with a bearish trend, it is. So if we look at the volume, there isn't really anything to signify that there's some sort of massive sell-off. Even in this red candle here, even in this huge red candle previously, these volume levels are somewhat really low, surprisingly low actually. You see that there is major support around the 20-day moving average and this 0.5 fib retracement. So this is where the major support is, right here. I don't know why this is tripping. If you add too many indicators on TradingView, sometimes it trips out. Let's just do it the other way. Screw it. So here's where the major support is. So we'll see in the next candle if it breaks out past this resistance line or not. Now the 618 level, this 0.618 level, is again where we tend to see people either throw in the towel and start panic selling, or whether you have a massive amount of investors entering the market because they recognize that's a great entry point. So hopefully we don't get to below that level. I don't hold any Cardano, but I know a lot of you guys do. So we'll see what this next candle yields. By tomorrow, since we're looking at a daily candle, or by end of today, by closing of today, and see if it does pop above this resistance line or if it continues to decline below that. My feeling, based on looking at the volume and looking at this 20-day moving average, I actually don't think that we're going to continue to see a decline. I think this is actually a bullish wedge. Maybe not shooting past historic highs, but at least trending towards this 0.236 fib level. So that is Cardano. All right, on to some news. So you'll see, most importantly, I think we should start with this. I'm sure most of you know by now, but the South Korean government said, haha, just playing, no cryptocurrency trading ban in South Korea. There's been an uproar in that country over the handling of this because it has such a big effect on the markets. But these assholes don't care. These world leaders don't care about people's money. They don't care about people's securities. In funny news, there was a petition to fire the head of the Ministry of Justice over the trading fiasco that all the FUD caused. So, but either way, the end result is good news. No cryptocurrency trading ban in South Korea, which is great because they do pump a lot of volume into the market, and a lot of important technologies coming out of there. Icon is coming out of South Korea, as well as some other great coins. Kraken down nearly 48 hours. I was a member, actually still am, obviously, a member of Kraken. I used to trade on there in the early days when it was stable, but it hasn't been able to handle the influx of new investors. I love Kraken. It was one of the OGs, I guess, but it's definitely seen better days. So it's been down, I guess, for nearly 2 days. I don't know because I haven't been on it. I trade mostly now on Bittrex, Binance, and KuCoin. If you haven't signed up to any of the exchanges, click the links in the description. We don't know when these exchanges will stop registrations again, so make sure that even if you don't have the liquidity to trade today, make sure that you're at least signed up so that when you do have the liquidity to trade or the courage to enter the market, that you are actually signed up to these exchanges. Let's not get to that one yet. This one really irked me. So Steve Mnuchin, who's the Treasury Secretary, if you didn't see, he was speaking at the Economic Club. I'm actually going to make a separate video on this because it speaks to the larger role of government, and particularly the US government, and how it sees crypto currently. Crypto is still not an accepted platform or an accepted means of I guess securities or currency in the eyes of the government. And you'll see that by how they refer to cryptocurrency and the words that they choose to use when referring to cryptocurrency. So right here, you'll see the headline that Steve Mnuchin warns against Bitcoin becoming the next Swiss bank account. So funny coming from a guy like him who has proven to engage in hiding his money abroad in tax havens in order not to pay taxes on it. But we'll get into that in another video. And lastly, we talked about this in the intro. KFC Canada introduces Bitcoin bucket of chicken tenders. Basically, KFC in Canada is allowing customers to pay with Bitcoin. The reason I'm laughing, I had made a joke a few videos ago about Chick-fil-A accepting Ripple. And it was hilarious, and by your guys' comments, I was just laughing my ass off. So it's just a coincidence, I guess, that another chicken franchise is accepting another form of cryptocurrency. Although I wish this was in the US, but it is in Canada. So to those in Canada who like chicken, who own Bitcoin, you guys are lucky. Although I don't think I'd spend any Bitcoin on chicken. I don't want to be part of the headline in a couple of years that says, man who bought bucket of chicken with Bitcoin spends the equivalent of $1 million today. But yeah, it is kind of cool to see support, at least spiritually, from KFC in Canada. And for those of you who are new to the channel, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. I did a Bitcoin giveaway at 500. I said I would do another one at 1,000. So let's hit 1,000 and I will give away some Bitcoin. When you comment, make sure you leave your addresses in the comments, or else where the hell am I gonna send it? I can't mail it to you. Leave your addresses in the comments. And join our Discord group. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's basically a messaging app on steroids. It's amazing. You can create all these channels. I already started creating these channels for you guys. I want this to be a resource, a crypto resource for you. Thank you to all these people on the right who have signed up so far. This is going to contain all of the crypto links that I use. We're going to have trading alerts. We're going to have trending coins, general trade talk. As you can see, I've been engaging with some of you guys on trading discussions. So I just want this to be a community where we can share ideas, where we can learn from each other, where I can learn from you, where you can learn some of the trades that I've been making and get some of the trading alerts based on my analysis. So join the Discord group. Link is in the description. Make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're liking the content so far. If you have any suggestions, pass those along as well. I'm open to suggestions. All right, guys, we'll end on a screenshot of this KFC Canada announcement because it really made me happy. Again, subscribe for more crypto talk, trading strategy, and crypto news. Leave a comment and subscribe if you like the video. If you're not registered to any exchanges and are looking to make trades, use the links in the description. Join the damn Discord group. Oh, and a few of you have asked me about some of the beats that I sometimes have on the channel, either in the intros or during, while I'm talking. Yeah, those beats, I've made all those beats. So I'll leave a link to my SoundCloud if you guys are interested. But yeah, I mean, I've been making beats for the longest time. So no, I'm not jacking anybody's beats. If I do use some of your music, I will be sure to leave the link in the description. So if you guys make beats, send me some cool beats. Or if you have recommendations for beat makers who don't mind having their music in YouTube videos, send those along as well, and I'll credit them in the description. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.